Welcome back. In this lecture, you are going to learn the most important concept there is in order for you to succeed with your Instagram marketing, and that is how to create valuable content. Now, first things first, before we go through that, we need to remember, and this is the very foundation, we need to remember that the end goal of our Instagram marketing is to get sales on our product or service. Now, it might be short-term sales, long-term sales, we might be talking about getting leads, increasing reach, increasing engagement, but all of those things are just different methods where you in the end try to get a sale on your product or service. So never forget that is the very foundation of marketing on Instagram. So how do we get sales on our product or service? Well, we need to, number one, build an audience. Even if you already have an audience, we still need to build a bigger audience, and then build a deep relationship to that audience. Okay, one more time, we need to build an audience and then build a deep relationship to that audience. So how do we do this? Well, we do this by figuring out what is valuable content to our audience specifically. Now, there are many creators on Instagram who are selling many different types of products and services, and for each product and service, there's going to be a specific type of audience. You are going to have a specific type of product or service, so you are going to have a unique audience, unique to what you have to offer. So your job is to find out what is valuable to your audience. And that is the name of the game, because what is valuable is subjective, meaning what is valuable to your audience is going to be completely different from what is valuable to someone else's audience. So the number one thing we need to do is figure out what is it that your audience finds valuable. And the easiest way to do this is by looking at competitors. But before we do that, there are 4 different types of valuable content that you can create. And I want you to keep these 4 different types in mind as we start looking at competitors. And those different types of valuable content are, number 1, educational content. Educational content is going to be anything that educates your audience. It could be FAQ, it could be tips, it could be how-tos, it could be a tutorial, whatever it might be that's educational. Number 2 is entertaining content, and that might be anything from simply sharing stories to having behind the scenes footage to doing before and afters or sharing someone else's story, as long as it's entertaining and people want to stay and listen to it. The third is inspiring content. And inspiring content might be anything that inspires your audience, makes them think, oh, I can do it too. So if you're in digital marketing, for example, like we are, and we have an audience who is struggling with digital marketing, then making content that inspires them and shows, hey, even as a small business, you can still succeed. Or when the going gets tough, do this, etc. Anything that's going to inspire your audience to keep going, that is inspiring content. And number 4 is promotional content. And promotional content means promoting whatever it is that you have to offer right now. It could be your product and service that you have, but it could also be that you're holding an event. It could also be the fact that you're gonna go live, or that you have put up a very important story. Whatever it might be that you want to promote, that is known as promoting promotional content. So those are the 4 different types of content that I want you to keep in mind as you go through your competitors. Once again, is educational content, entertaining content, inspiring content, and then promotional content. So first things first, chances are that you probably know who your competitors are. And if you don't, no worries. You can Google it, and I'm going to show you another method how to find them later on in this very lecture if you have no idea. But first, I just want to look at how it might look when you're looking at a competitors and what you might find. So here's an Instagram account that's called Baking Intelligence, and this is a woman and she's selling baking courses. Amazing. So if you are within this niche, let's say that I was within this niche, I would be interested in knowing, okay, she has 96.1 thousand followers. That's a lot of followers. What is it that she's doing that's so interesting, that's attracting people and having them stay? So you can just scroll through her content and we can see that there is a lot of promotional content going on. Now, if you're a small business or you have a small account, you probably won't be able to really promote anything in the beginning. So you can disregard that. The other things that's going to be interesting is going to be here, for example, tips for perfectly super moist cake. So this is a carousel content that is giving some educational content that is showing us how to do these cakes. Perfect. And that makes a lot of sense because if you're selling a baking course, chances are that audience is looking for baking tips. Can go back, we can see that there is a lot of promotional content going on. Even this is a promotional content as well from her course. We can scroll down. Oh, here we have a zebra cake. So even more educational content. So what I'm gathering from this, and you're going to need to spend a lot of time on this to figure out what is valuable content for your audience, because this is the make it or break it with your marketing. Spend a lot of time here and figure out what is it that they're looking for. Here, I would probably imagine that, yes, doing educational content is going to be something that works within this niche. But then let's look at a completely different niche. Now, here's a brand called EMP, almost as big of an account with 84.1 thousand followers. Now, their niche is completely different. They're selling a physical product and they're within the cyberpunk niche. Now, interestingly, when looking down here, we can see spontaneously that there are some products, some so-called shoppable posts. We're going to talk more about that later on. Where you can go into the post, you can tap, and then you can see what it is that they're selling. But a lot of their content actually seems to be entertaining content. So here's one example. Would you rather get free cinema tickets for life or unlimited free books? Now, as a marketer, you already know that this is almost a meaningless content if you're from this sort of old school marketing when it was all about promoting what you had to offer. But this is the modern era of marketing. People are looking to be entertained because when they're entertained, they're gonna stay on your account. And when they stay on your account, you're gonna get a bigger reach, which means more people getting exposed to your content, which means you are gonna get more and better results. So this is the future of content marketing, of Instagram marketing, and of creating valuable content. So interestingly, they do a lot of very entertaining content. And when you start digging down, this makes a lot of sense because cyberpunk as a niche, it would seem to me, are people who have a specific type of personality, who might be a little bit quirky, a little bit odd, might have a specific type of humor. And this company is really playing into this. So this is what I mean with digging down and understanding what is valuable content to your audience. Because again, if you were into baking, educational content, that's going to work really well. But here it seems if you're into the cyberpunk and selling physical products, this company is doing really, really well with just purely entertaining content. So look at your competitors, see what the audience is reacting to, see what is working for them, and then start figuring out from there what is valuable content to your audience. Because remember, they are your competitors because you're sharing the same audience. Now, finally, if you have no idea who your competitors are, what you can do is simply click on the search down here at the bottom, and then you can search for something like, well, your niche straight off. If I was into digital marketing, I might search for hashtag digital marketing. Just like this, put a hashtag and then put in your niche. Now you can see there's a lot of posts going on, but this is a great way to sort of start scrolling through and see what is going on here and also who is going on here. So I can see how Apple hacks into emotions. Okay, that's pretty interesting. This is a digital marketer, Alex Octopus. I can click on that account. This guy has a lot of followers. Well, what sort of content is he doing? So start digging around in the hashtags, figure out who is your competitor, what sort of content are they doing, and then you'll know that this is valuable content for your audience and you'll know what to create yourself. Now, if this is overwhelming, don't worry about it because we're gonna go through the different content types in this course later on in the course and also strategies for the different content types. So there's still so many things to learn, but understand that the end goal is to get sales on your product or service. Okay, just keep that in mind and then let's progress in the course. See you in the next lecture.